The Las Vegas Raiders are releasing defensive tackle Christian Wilkins after just 1 year, just 5 games, after signing him to a 4 year, $110 million contract with over $80 million guaranteed. It was done by the last regime, which was Tom Telesco, Antonio Pierce. He is being released over here during training camp. He has been on the physically unable to perform list. And recently, the new head coach, Pete Carroll, said it's been a very difficult process over here, recovering from a Jones fracture, which he suffered last year during the season, ended his season in October. And essentially, the Raiders are releasing him and they're taking away all of his guaranteed money, which is remaining on the contract. It is a lot of money, north of $35 million per year. They're taking away all of it. And essentially, the argument the Raiders are making is the way that he has been recovering from this foot injury. Something must have happened away from the facility. And if you read the finer details inside of a contract, there are a number of ways to avoid a contract. The Raiders believe that he has done that.
Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, so check me out there. And don't forget to go to Instagram, Put on Waivers _podcast. That's Put on Waivers _podcast. Get you all the stuff you need for all the teams that we follow on this YouTube channel. So, the Raiders. Christian Wilkins. It was reported earlier. I got to give the guy credit. I think Mitchell Rentz kind of went. He was the first guy to go in on him not being available for the whole year. The Raiders have did not, for whatever it's worth, did not like his workout routine or his rehab or whatever, and they ended up cutting him. I think the battle was he wanted to play. They wanted surgery. He said, I'm not having surgery. And they just made, and they just made the cut. So it's a big deal. I mean, the Raiders don't have anybody on that roster who can do what Christian Wilkins can do. So I think that's the first thing we got to think about, whether it's Hemingway, whether it's Pegasus, whether it's, Tyree Wilson. Like, I mean, if you play those guys, play those players, all the snaps you want to, would they still equal what Christian Wilkins does when he's healthy? So the thing about it is we don't really know the full details of everything. So I know Raider fans are jumping on the bandwagon saying he wasn't gonna play this year. We don't know that. He didn't want to do surgery. That's the rumor that he didn't want to do surgery. And the Raiders have their doctors. I'm sure he got second opinions that said he can go play. And that's the battle between them. The Raiders are, I think it's like 3.3. I think it's 34.2 or 5 million that the Raiders are trying to recoup. I don't know if they can recoup that money because they are doing they're trying to avoid the contract. And then he's filing with the Players Association to see that doesn't happen, right? He wants to make sure that doesn't happen. He wants to make sure he gets paid. For me, I think the Raiders are going to have to pay some of that money anyway. I think the NFLPA and an arbitrator and the Raiders are going to come to an agreement to kind of pay half of that money or pay some of that money. So that's a huge part of it. It's always about the money. I just don't know if I wouldn't have been more patient. I think I might have been a little bit more patient in that situation where I might have just said, hey, you know what? Let's see if he can play. but if but the doctors really run that whole situation for the Raiders, so the doctors are really adamant that he can't play, then guess what? He can't play. So it's a really tough situation. The the more the stuff that's going to come out later on, because we really have to wait till later on with the story like this, is we're waiting for I guess Diana Rossini and Josina Anderson. They have some news about it. They're probably gonna hold on to that so they can formulate their full story. But those are going to be the things that you have to worry about as far as the Raiders here. Rossini already has quotes from coaches and general managers, and it looks like it doesn't put the Raiders in good light. But again, we have to see. We have to see what happens. We do, and as far as sides go, I'm on the side of just having good players on the team. That's the side I want. I want the Raiders to have the Raiders to have good players on their team. So, we'll see if they can. We'll see if they can actually um, put this in the back burner by having their young players play and making things go away with Christian Wilkins. But but let's be honest. If Christian Wilkins does go somewhere, if Christian Wilkins goes to another team and plays and is a little bit of a factor for that team, that's going to be a thing for the Raiders. That's going to be a blow to the Raiders. The Raiders have not done well in free agency in Vegas. Corey Littleton, Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I mean, there's so many names on that list that are not really good players. And they paid for him, and the Devontae Adams thing didn't go well. Like, so many things for the Raiders have not gone well in this era. And I'm not ready to just completely side with Christian Wilkins. And until I get more information, I'm not really interested in siding with the Raiders 100%. I think we should sit back, wait, see what the information that we can get from these reporters, and see if he signs somewhere. I mean, if every team is telling him that you need surgery, then the Raiders are good to go. If he goes somewhere and goes into a training camp and is on the field during training camp, and he's playing for the Bills or playing for the Patriots or playing for the Chiefs, and he's out here doing things on the field, then that's an issue. But I think to come down hard in favor of the Christian Wilkins side, or come down really hard and say, okay, I'm on the Raider side, I think, like, there's some times where you have to just wait and see that, hey, let me get all the information first. I know we live in a microwave society. We want all our information now. We don't want to wait, but this one, on this particular situation, I'd wait. In this particular situation, I'd wait. I'm going to shift over to the red zone offense for the Raiders, and I think it's, for me, it's like something I've talked about before. And have they improved at quarterback? I mean, do I think Aiden O'Connell is a better quarterback than Geno Smith? Absolutely not. The running back room was one of the worst in the league last year. They vastly improved it now with Mostert and Genty. So you have big body receivers in this offense now. You have Brock Bowers, who is the ultimate, chess piece offensively. But that being said, we went through an entire career of Derek Carr, who was who was historically one of the best. I'm sorry, one of the worst red zone quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. So fast forward to now, we were, I think the Raiders are hoping that they have a renaissance um with Geno Smith, and hoping that Geno Smith is a guy who can catapult this offense and get over his own red zone struggles. I mean, that's huge. I mean, can he get over his own red zone struggles? I don't know. It's another thing where we have to wait and see. I mean, if they go to New England first game and they move the football up and down the field and they got 400 yards of offense and all the things like that, but they only got 17 points, then something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong. So I don't think we'll see if Thornton becomes that deep threat. We'll see if Tucker can be that deep threat for them consistently. But in this situation, I think it's kind of that wait and see attitude. Yes, you want to be optimistic as a fan. Yes, you want to say you're going to hear all the great things from Pete Carroll. I'm a USC fan. I love Pete Carroll. I love Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's the man. But with that being said, if you want to see real improvement, I gotta see how this team, I gotta see how this whole makeup operates in the red zone. And that's probably that's the biggest thing in this offense. Because yes, it'd be nice to score before you get to the red zone. That's what Hugh Jackson was good at about with the Raiders in his 2 years with Oakland. But we got to see them actually do that. We got to see it first. So be optimistic, but until you see those red zone touchdowns, I would definitely be a little bit just wary of it if you're a Raider fan. And then there is that element of, can they block it up front? If they can block it up front, this offense should be good, but they got to block it up front first. All right. Put on Raiders podcast. We will be back. I just want to hop on here to talk a little Christian Wilkins, and then and then we'll get Ryan back in here, and we'll be going at it for you guys for Raider Nation. So, all right, take care. Peace, Raider Nation.